I'm excited to have two speakers from Demandbase, and I'm going to invite them up to the stage. Welcome, and let's have a virtual round of applause for Leanne and Melissa.
Thanks, James. So happy to be here today. I'm a huge advocate for women in business. I actually created a Women in B2B network about 4 years ago, and it's great to see these networks and events just increasing over the years and having more forums and stuff. As James mentioned, I'm a career-long B2B marketeer, and a huge part of my role is working with sales. And one of the biggest challenges that I see in the market in general and with our customers is that lack of alignment between sales and marketing. So I thought it was important to share, why it's important to have that alignment, why it's integral to your go-to-market strategy, especially as selling's just become so much harder this year. A lot of the results of the polls that we were running, a lot of us are saying, don't know, my targets are unrealistic. I'm going to likely miss my target this year. We're seeing budget cuts across the board. People are just taking longer to make those decisions, and oftentimes they're doing nothing and not making a purchase. So I thought it was important to highlight that today. And what we're going to be sharing is the ways in which Melissa and I are working together to create that better alignment, and how we work as a sales and marketing team within Demandbase. And oftentimes we see that those two teams are working in silos. Sometimes they're ignoring each other. Sometimes there's resentment there, or even worse, competing with one another as well. And I would love to see more events actually and forums where those two teams can come together and really start to have better conversations and build better relationships, because we know in marketing of all those great expertise in creating these amazing experiences and building awareness for our target audience. And sales are great at knowing, what kind of accounts and needs are going to become like valuable customers. So actually combining these two super powers, essentially, you've got this laser focused go-to-market team. And I think that really starts with that kind of shared focused around focusing time and money on those accounts and people that are most likely to buy. And as I've mentioned, that's harder than ever today, for the reasons that I've mentioned, but also because so much of the time that customers are spending in that buyer journey is done without, being in front of the sales rep as well. So they're taking longer to get to that kind of decision as well. And I think some of the things that can help with that is actually just having that shared view of accounts to say, actually, we're going to really just focus and prioritize our time on the accounts that have that highest propensity to buy. And then working with your marketing team to actually link data, having that one shared view of accounts, having those systems and channels and processes and teams in place to help overcome that kind of go-to-market fragmentation that exists as well. And I think a key part of that is actually starting to measure that engagement across the buyer journey. So us as marketing, we're able to see insight into actually where accounts are in that buyer journey at any given stage, and also sharing that with sales so they know when is the right time to follow up, where are they in their buyer journey, what should I be saying at each stage. So the key points really is, one is aligning on the data that sales and marketing are using. Two is sharing that insights, or whatever insights that you're getting on those target accounts, it's sharing that with sales so they can see what industry that account's in, how engaged are they showing any signs of intent for product solutions for our competitors, and then coordinating those account interactions across that buyer journey. We've seen time and time again that's been really successful. And I think there's some key steps to aligning those teams. So it firstly starts with collaboration from both of those teams to work on actually what does our ideal customer profile look like. Let's see, who are our most successful customers, and try and get more accounts like that into our pipeline. No, it sounds really simple, but actually having that collaboration on your ideal customer profile doesn't happen in every single organization today. And also having that alignment on account scoring models and what is important to you in terms of how good a fit an account is to your organization, and then agreeing on how you're actually going to go to market and what that style looks like. Once you've got that agreement, it's then around, picking your target accounts. One of the things that's been really successful with us at Demandbase is actually tiering the target accounts. So we actually let sales pick their own target account. So it's marketing driven, but sales owned. That whole way around, deciding what accounts to have on their target account list. And then we support them by saying, these are the entitlements that each of the accounts are going to get at each of the different account tiers. And I always look at it as a kind of contract between marketing and sales to say, okay, if it's a tier 1 account, these are going to be your strategic accounts, the ones that have those highest potential value. Let's have a bit more of a white glove kind of treatment towards those accounts as well. So defining those entitlements to support that target account engagement is really key, and sharing account intelligence. So where are they in the buying cycle? How many people in that account is engaged? What kind of intent are we showing? What kind of engagement are we getting from these accounts is really, really critical. So sales teams know, when is the right time to reach out and what to say, and then meeting regularly to check in on what's happening. One of the things that we've done that's been really successful is what we call ABM stand-ups. Melissa and I meet monthly. I meet with our new business teams as well on this, and it's just having a look at what is the health of your pipeline? Where are the gaps? Are there any deals that are stalling? Do you have enough at each stage of the funnel to help you hit your revenue targets? And coming up with a plan together on what we can do if we need to make improvements and to support each other essentially. So those stand-ups have been hugely successful. And then another part of it is also agreeing on, what are the right metrics to align on. So pipeline, revenue, and then their leading indicators. So things at the top of the funnel, MQLs, hand raisers, then things that turn into meetings and SQLs and discovery opportunities to really attain, are we engaging with the right accounts, and are those right accounts getting into pipeline? So those are some of the things that have been really successful in helping us create that better alignment. Melissa's going to share actually how she's using this in real life. So Melissa, I'd love to hear some examples of how you're using the data that we're sharing with you to help with your new business deals when you were an SDR and now with your upsell and renewal opportunities in your role as a growth account director.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Leanne. I think really the biggest takeaway, and I have been at Demandbase 8 years, hitting the phones, trying to generate pipeline, and then moved into enterprise sales. And now I'm on the customer side and went over the pond at a certain point too. But essentially, I think the biggest takeaway that has really been game changing at Demandbase for any of my customers aggressively. So from sort of an order of operations perspective, the way that I start my day, week, and this has really held true, whether it was SDR, enterprise AE, or working with customers now, is understanding and aligning with Leanne on which accounts we're focusing on. Obviously, right now, my job is more centered on upsell and retention. So it's really looking at opportunities to identify that they're in market for new modules. But, even in pre-sale, it was just, are they currently a prospect we should be focused on? And if so, what is Leanne doing? And really trusting marketing. And knowing that you're kind of on the same page with, here's the right accounts, here's the data that supports that. And so the low hanging fruit for any salesperson is obviously tracking the website engagement. So starting my day every day, it's looking at which of the accounts have been on the website, also understanding if they're showing that intent, which is a term we throw around often, but it's essentially our ability to track companies who are doing research on keywords and competitors and things like that indicate that they're obviously in a buyer's journey. And then being really strategic on how I go after them. And because I have a full understanding from my ABM stand-ups, they're in an ad campaign that Leanne's running, promoting this type of messaging, I can then, as a salesperson, be equally as personalized and white glove when reaching out to a smaller set of accounts that we've used data to determine are the right companies to be focused on at a given time. And so even my messaging is right in step with what marketing is promoting. And I'm really fortunate, and it's one of the reasons I've been at demand-based so long, that our marketers are actually tied to pipeline. So it behooves both of us to be driving pipeline at the same time. But I think really the biggest game changers throughout my career is buddy up to marketing and trust that what they're doing is going to work. Even like my fiance has been at like 4 tech companies since I've been at demand based. And I'm always like, the first person you meet is the digital marketer. The second person you want to buddy up to is sales ops. And it's been an absolute game changer, just really kind of staying in stride with marketing and being more focused on quality over quantity, and both emphasizing pipeline generation versus getting a ton of leads, only about a quarter of which are actually ones that sales gets excited about. So, yeah.
Great. Thanks for sharing. I love the trust word as well. That's always great to hear. And I think that's why I've been at Demand Base for such a long time as well, for that exact reason. It's like having the best alignment. I've definitely experienced that, where we have trust between both teams and we're both working towards the same goals. I think it's been just helped us both be really successful and have that great alignment.